The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, and it changed everything. In the Grand Council Chamber of Earth, 12 representatives from humanity's colonies sat in shocked silence. The holographic image floating above the central table showed an alien face. It was covered in dark purple scales, with 4 eyes that burned like dying stars. The creature's voice was deep and filled with contempt as it spoke. "Humans of the Sol System," the alien said, "I am High Warlord Ketharan of the Velthari Dominion. Your species has expanded into territories that belong to us. You have ignored our warnings. You have tested our patience. Now you will face our justice." The alien paused, letting his words sink in. "You have 30 standard days to surrender all your colonies. Every ship, every station, every world. If you refuse, we will take them by force, and we will show no mercy." The message ended. The room remained silent. Secretary General Maria Lopez was the first to speak. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "How many ships do they have?" Her military advisor checked his tablet. "Our intelligence suggests 500 warships, ma'am. Maybe more. They have conquered over 200 worlds in the past 800 years. They have never lost a war. And how many ships do we have?" 180 combat-ready vessels. Another 60 in reserve. The numbers hung in the air like a death sentence. Humanity was outnumbered nearly 3-1, against a species that had never known defeat. "There must be something we can do," said the representative from Mars Colony. "Some way to negotiate." "The Velthari do not negotiate," the military advisor replied. "They conquer. That is all they know." Maria Lopez closed her eyes. She had hoped this day would never come, but she had prepared for it. They all had. For 40 years, Earth's government had kept a secret from its own people. A secret that might be their only hope. "Activate Protocol Omega," she said quietly. The room went still. Everyone knew what those words meant. Full wartime authority would be transferred to one person. The commander of Earth's United Fleet, a person whose identity was the most closely guarded, secret in human history. Somewhere in deep space, far from any inhabited world, a ship drifted in the darkness. It was not the largest ship in the human fleet, but it was the most important. This was the Sentinel, the flagship of Admiral Grace Sullivan. Grace sat alone in her quarters, reading a book. She was 67 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen more than any human should. When the priority message arrived, she set down her book and read it carefully. War. After all these years, the Velthari had finally come. She was not surprised. She had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. There was a knock on her door. "Come in," she said. Commander Ben Carter entered. He was a tall man in his 40s, with a calm face and steady hands. He had served under Grace for 15 years, and he trusted her completely. But even he did not know everything about her. "Admiral, we have received a declaration," Ben said. "The Council has activated Protocol Omega. You have full authority." Grace nodded slowly. "Begin mobilizing the fleet. I want every ship at combat readiness within 72 hours. Send coded orders to all system commanders. They know their positions." "Yes, Admiral." Ben hesitated. "Ma'am, the crew is worried. Everyone has seen the numbers. The Velthari have never been defeated." Grace looked up at him. There was something in her eyes that Ben had never seen before. Something old and deep and terribly patient. "The Velthari believe they know everything about war," she said. "They have studied our public records. They have analyzed our weapons and our ships. But they do not know who commands our fleet. And that is their first mistake." Ben wanted to ask what she meant, but he had learned long ago that Grace would share information when she was ready, and not before. "There is something else," Grace continued. She walked to a small cabinet and opened it. Inside was an old photograph, yellowed with age. It showed a young woman in a uniform that Ben did not recognize. The uniform was not from any human military. "Ma'am?" Ben asked, confused. Grace touched the photograph gently. "The Valkyrie think they are fighting humans. They think this will be an easy victory. Another species to conquer. Another world to add to their collection." She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "They have no idea what they have started." Across the galaxy, on his massive flagship, High Warlord Ketharan was celebrating. His officers had gathered to toast their coming victory. The humans would fall quickly. Everyone knew this. "Tell me about their military leadership." Ketharan commanded his tactical advisor, Sub-Commander Vitha. Vitha pulled up the intelligence files. "Their political leaders are known to us, but their fleet commander is classified. We have found no records, no images, no name. It is as if this person does not exist." Ketharan laughed. "They are hiding their commander because they are ashamed. The humans probably chose some politician's nephew, some fool who has never seen real battle." He raised his glass. "This will be easier than I thought." His officers laughed with him. None of them noticed the old veteran in the corner who did not join in the celebration. Elder Kethvorn, the warlord's grandfather, sat quietly and stared at his drink. He was the oldest Valkyrie alive, nearly 400 years old. He had fought in wars that his grandson had only read about, and something about this situation bothered him deeply. A hidden commander. Tactics that existed only in classified files. A species that had survived countless wars on their own world. Before reaching the stars, the humans were not hiding their commander out of shame, Kethvorn realized. They were hiding their commander because they understood something the Valkyrie had forgotten. War was not about numbers. War was about knowing your enemy. And the humans clearly knew something about the Valkyrie that the Valkyrie did not know about themselves. The old warrior finished his drink in silence. He hoped his grandson was right. He hoped this would be an easy victory. But deep in his ancient heart, he was afraid. On the Sentinel, Admiral Grace Sullivan looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the enemy was coming. An enemy she knew better than anyone alive. An enemy she had been waiting to face again for a very long time. "They made a terrible mistake," she whispered to the darkness. "And now they will learn why." The war had begun, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The Valkyrie fleet arrived at the border system of Kepler 442 like a storm rolling across the sky. 500 warships, each one bristling with weapons, emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. It was a display of power meant to terrify anyone watching. Captain Nathan Cole was watching. He stood on the bridge of his destroyer, the Relentless, and counted the enemy ships as they appeared on his screen. 12 human vessels faced 500 Valkyrie warships. The math was simple. The math was terrible. "Captain," his weapons officer said, voice shaking. "They outnumber us 40-1. Nathan nodded calmly. "I can count, Lieutenant. What are your orders, sir?" Nathan looked at his crew. They were young, most of them. They had trained for war, but they had never seen it. Now they were about to face the most feared military force in the galaxy. "We have our orders from the Admiral," Nathan said. "We are not here to win. We are here to delay them. Every hour we hold them here is another hour for our colonies to evacuate civilians. Every ship we damage is one less ship attacking our homes." He paused and looked each of them in the eye. "We probably will not survive this day, but our families will. Our people will. And that is worth dying for." The bridge was silent. Then, one by one, his crew nodded. They understood. "Take us into the asteroid field," Nathan ordered. "Let us show these aliens how humans fight." The Battle of Kepler 442 lasted 6 hours. It should have lasted 6 minutes. Nathan Cole and his 12 ships used every trick they knew. They hid among the asteroids, using the massive rocks as shields and weapons. They programmed drones to mimic ship signatures, confusing Velfari sensors. They attacked from unexpected angles, hit vital systems, and vanished before the enemy could respond. The Velfari had never seen anything like it. High Warlord Catharan watched from his flagship as his ship struggled to destroy a handful of human vessels. His face grew darker with each passing hour. "They fight like insects," Sub-Commander Veda observed. "They bite and run. They refuse to face us directly." "Because they cannot face us directly," Catharan growled. "They are weak. This is the fighting style of cowards." But privately, he was troubled. His fleet had expected to sweep through this system in minutes. Instead, they had spent hours chasing shadows. 17 of his ships were damaged. 3 were destroyed completely by humans. Eventually, the numbers became too great. Nathan Cole's squadron was overwhelmed. The Relentless took a direct hit to its engines and began to drift. Nathan ordered his crew to the escape pods before the second volley hit. He stayed on the bridge until the end. When the Velfari captured the survivors, they expected broken spirits. Instead, they found something else. The human prisoners smiled at their captors. Some of them laughed. "Why do you laugh?" A Velfari guard demanded. "You have lost. Your captain is dead. Your ships are destroyed." A young human officer looked up at him. Her name was Amy Dawson, and she had served as communications officer on the Relentless. "We lost this battle," Amy said calmly. "But you have not won the war. You have no idea who you are fighting. We are fighting humans. Weak, soft creatures who hide behind rocks." Amy's smile grew wider. "You are fighting the Admiral, and you do not even know her name." The guard struck her across the face. Amy fell but kept smiling. On the Sentinel, Admiral Grace Sullivan received a report from Kepler 442. She read the casualty list slowly, honoring each name with a moment of silence. Then she turned to Commander Ben Carter. "Captain Cole bought us 8 hours," she said. "His sacrifice will not be forgotten." "The Velfari are moving toward Proxima Centauri," Ben reported. "They have adjusted their formation. They learned from the asteroid field tactics." "Good," Grace said. Ben looked at her with confusion. "Good? They are adapting, Admiral. They will not fall for the same tricks twice." Grace smiled. It was a cold smile, the smile of someone playing a game that only she fully understood. "I have been preparing for this war for 40 years, Ben. Do you think I only have one trick?" She turned to the holographic display showing all 12 human star systems. Tiny dots of light represented her ships, scattered across vast distances. To an outside observer, it looked random. Chaotic dot, but Grace saw the pattern. She had designed it herself. "The Velfari think in straight lines," she said. "They see war as simple math. More ships equals victory. They have never faced an enemy who thinks in 3 dimensions." She touched the display, and new information appeared. Hidden defense platforms. Civilian ships secretly converted to warships. Supply caches hidden in asteroid fields and empty moons. Decades of preparation, invisible to anyone who did not know where to look. They are walking into a trap, Ben realized. "Proxima Centauri is not our weak point," Grace said. "It is their grave." On the prisoner transport, Amy Dawson and the other survivors huddled in the cold darkness. A Velfari officer came to interrogate them. He demanded to know about the human fleet, their strategies, their commander. "Tell me who leads your military," the officer said. "Tell me the name of your admiral." Amy looked at her fellow prisoners. Despite their wounds, despite their fear, they all shared the same expression: pride. "You will learn her name soon enough," Amy said. "And when you do, you will understand why you should have stayed home." The officer left frustrated and confused. Across the galaxy, the human fleet moved in the darkness. Ships changed positions according to plans made decades ago. Defenses activated in systems the Valkyrie had not even considered. And at the center of it all, Admiral Grace Sullivan played a game of strategy that had been 40 years in the making. She recorded a message and sent it to every ship in the fleet. Her face remained hidden, her voice calm and steady. "This is your admiral," she said. "The enemy believes they know how to defeat us. They believe this war will be quick and easy. They are wrong. We will make them pay for every system they take. We will bleed them at every step. And when they finally face us at Earth, they will understand their mistake." She paused, and her voice grew harder. "They do not know who they are fighting, but they will learn. I promise you, they will learn." On his flagship, Ketheran listened to the intercepted transmission. The human admiral had spoken, but the message revealed nothing. No name, no face, no useful information. Just a promise. And for the first time since the war began, High Warlord Ketheran felt something he had never felt before: doubt. Proxima Centauri was humanity's first colony beyond Earth. 8 billion people lived on its 3 habitable worlds. It was the heart of human civilization among the stars, and the Valkyrie were coming to take it. High Warlord Ketheran led his fleet personally. After the embarrassment at Kepler 442, he wanted to show his officers how a true warrior conquered. He expected the humans to run. He expected them to beg. He did not expect what happened next. The Valkyrie fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Ketheran immediately noticed something strange. The space around them was quiet. Too quiet. "Where are the human ships?" Sub-Commander Vitha asked. "Hiding," Ketheran said with contempt. "Like they always do." But as his fleet moved deeper into the system, things began to go wrong. The first explosion came from nowhere. A Valkyrie cruiser simply vanished in a ball of fire. Then another. Then 3 more. "We are under attack," Vitha shouted. "But I cannot see the enemy." Hidden defense platforms, invisible to Valkyrie sensors, had activated all around them. These were not ordinary weapons. They were mines, missiles, and energy weapons that had been placed in the system decades ago. They had been waiting, silent and patient, for this exact moment. Ketheran watched in shock as his fleet flew into a killing zone. Ships exploded left and right. His commanders screamed for orders. And still, they could not see their enemy. "Fall back," Ketheran ordered. "All ships, fall back to the edge of the system." But the trap was already complete. Behind them, more hidden platforms activated. The Valkyrie fleet was surrounded. In the chaos, human warships finally appeared. But they were not the same ships the Valkyrie had seen before. Civilian transports had been converted into missile carriers. Mining vessels now carried military-grade weapons. Even passenger liners had been armored and armed. Commander Ryan Mitchell led the ground defense forces on the main planet. He watched the battle in space through his command screen and smiled grimly. "The Admiral was right," he said to his officers. They walked right into it. The Battle of Proxima Centauri lasted 2 days. When it was over, the Valkyrie had lost 112 ships. They had killed only 9 human vessels in return. It was the worst defeat in Valkyrie history. On his damaged flagship, Ketheran sat alone in his command room. He had never lost a battle before. None of his ancestors had ever lost a battle. The Valkyrie were conquerors. They did not know how to be the conquered. Sub-Commander Vitha entered carefully. "My lord, I have completed my analysis of the battle." "Tell me," Ketheran said, his voice dead. "The defensive network we encountered was at least 40 years old. Some of the hidden platforms date back even further. The humans have been preparing for this war since before you were born. Catharan looked up. 40 years? That is impossible. We only decided to invade them last year. Nevertheless, the evidence is clear. Their admiral knew we would come. She has been preparing for decades. Catharan slammed his fist on the table. Who is she? Find out. I want to know everything about this human commander. But no matter how hard they searched, the Velthari could find nothing. The human admiral was a ghost. On the Sentinel, Admiral Grace Sullivan reviewed the battle reports with Commander Ben Carter. The victory was significant, but she showed no celebration. We hurt them badly, Ben said. They lost nearly a quarter of their fleet. It is not enough, Grace replied. Catharan will not retreat. His pride will not allow it. He will push forward, even if it destroys him. Then we will defeat him again. Grace shook her head slowly. Each battle costs us ships we cannot replace. The Velthari can absorb losses. We cannot. This war will be won or lost at Earth. Everything we do now is just preparation for that final fight. Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez joined them on the bridge. He was a short man with clever hands and tired eyes. He had been awake for 3 days keeping the Sentinel running. Admiral, I have completed the analysis you requested, Sam said. The Velthari ships use a specific frequency for their communications. If we can jam that frequency at the right moment, we can blind their fleet for several minutes. Grace nodded. Excellent work, Sam. That will be useful at Earth. On the Velthari flagship, Catharan's daughter Velith was studying the captured recordings from the battle. She was young for a Velthari officer, only 80 years old. But she was brilliant, and she noticed things that others missed. Father, she said, entering his command room. I have found something strange. Catharan waved his hand tiredly. What is it? I isolated the voice of the human admiral from their fleet communications. There is something unusual about her speech patterns. Velith played the recording. Grace's voice filled the room, calm and confident. I do not hear anything unusual, Catharan said. Listen to how she structures her sentences. The rhythm is wrong. It does not match normal human speech patterns. Velith hesitated. Father, I compared her speech patterns to our historical archives. I found a match. With what? With the Morith. The room went silent. The Morith were a species that the Velthari had destroyed 300 years ago. They had been completely wiped out. Every man, woman, and child. Every world. Every ship. Nothing remained of them but old records and fading memories. That is impossible, Catharan said. The Morith are extinct. We made certain of it. I know. But the match is exact. Whoever commands the human fleet speaks with Morith patterns, Morith rhythm, Morith structure. Catharan felt a chill run down his spine. He remembered the stories his grandfather had told him as a child. Stories about the war against the Morith. Stories about a terrible enemy commander who had killed millions of Velthari. Before finally being defeated, he pressed a button on his console. Find my grandfather. Bring him to me immediately. Across the fleet, old Cathvorin was already on his way. He too had heard the recordings. He too had recognized the speech patterns. And unlike his grandson, he remembered the face of the enemy who had used them. Admiral Morethka. The ghost of the Morith. The only commander who had ever truly threatened the Velthari dominion. She had died 300 years ago. Cathvorn had watched her ship explode with his own eyes. But as he walked toward his grandson's chambers, the old warrior could not shake a terrible thought from his mind. What if she had not died? What if she had found a way to survive? What if she had been waiting all these centuries for a chance at revenge? He was about to find out. 60 years ago, a ship crashed on Earth's moon Dot. It was small, barely larger than a human shuttle. Its hull was burned and broken, torn apart by weapons fired that left deep scars in the metal. When rescue teams reached the wreck, they expected to find nothing but debris. Instead, they found a survivor. She was not human. Her skin was silver, her eyes were large and dark, and her body was broken in a dozen places. But she was alive. Barely. The rescue team brought her to a secret facility on Earth. The best doctors in humanity worked for weeks to save her life. They succeeded, but they could not heal her completely. Her body was dying, slowly but certainly. A government official visited her room one day. He sat beside her bed and spoke to her through a translator. "We know who you are," he said. "We found records of your species in the Galactic archives. You are Morth. We thought your people were extinct." "We are," she replied, her voice weak. "I am the last. The Velthari killed everyone else. We are sorry for your loss." She laughed bitterly. "Sorry? Do you know what the Velthari are? They will come for you too, one day. Every species that expands into space eventually meets them. And every species falls." The official was quiet for a moment. "What if we could stop them?" "You cannot." "I tried. My people tried. We were more advanced than you, more numerous. And we still lost." "But you almost won," the official said. "The records speak of a Morth commander who nearly defeated the Velthari. She destroyed half their fleet before they finally stopped her." He leaned closer. "That was you, was it not?" "Admiral Morethka." She closed her eyes. "That name means nothing now. I failed. My people are dead. I should have died with them. But you did not. You survived. You came here." The official placed a folder on her bed. "We have a proposal for you." She looked at the folder, but did not open it. "What proposal?" "Your body is dying. Our doctors cannot save it. But we have developed a technology that might help. We can transfer your consciousness, your memories, your entire mind into a new body. A human body." She stared at him. "Why would you do this?" "Because the Velthari will come for us eventually. We know this. And when they do, we will need someone who knows how to fight them. Someone who has done it before." He paused. "We are offering you a second chance, Admiral. A chance to live. A chance to teach us everything you know. And perhaps, one day, a chance to finish what you started." For a long time, she did not speak. She thought about her people, her world, everything she had lost. She thought about the Velthari and the hatred that burned in her heart. She thought about dying alone in this strange facility on a planet she had never seen before, and then she thought about revenge. "I accept," she said. They called her Grace Sullivan. They gave her a human body, a human name, a human life. But inside she remained Morethka, the last of the Morth, the ghost of the Velthari's darkest war. For 60 years, she taught humanity how to fight. She designed their weapons, their tactics, their strategies. She built hidden defenses in every system. She trained generations of officers. And she waited. On the Sentinel, Admiral Grace Sullivan stood before Commander Ben Carter and told him the truth. "I am not human," she said. "I never was." Ben stared at her, unable to speak. He had served under her for 15 years. He had trusted her with his life. And now everything he knew was changing. "Your species was destroyed by the Velthari 300 years ago," Grace continued. "I am the only survivor. The humans found me, saved me, and gave me a chance to live again. In return, I gave them everything I knew. The defenses," then whispered. "The tactics. The preparation. It was all you. Yes, I have been preparing for this war since before you were born. The Velthari killed 10 billion of my people. They burned our worlds and erased our history. I will not let them do the same to humanity." Ben was silent for a long moment. Then he asked the question that mattered most. Does it change anything? What you are? Grace looked at him with eyes that had seen the death of an entire civilization. That depends on you. Ben thought about everything she had done for humanity. The decades of service. The lives she had saved. The future she had built for a species that was not even her own. No, he said finally. It does not change anything. You are still our admiral. You are still the person I trust to lead us through this war. Grace smiled. And for the first time in 60 years, there were tears in her eyes. On the Velthury flagship, old Kethvorn faced his grandson. Tell me about the Moreth commander, Ketharan demanded. Tell me about Admiral Morethka. Kethvorn sat down heavily. He suddenly looked every year of his great age. She was the greatest military mind the galaxy has ever seen, he said. In the war against the Moreth, she killed more Velthury than any enemy before or since. She turned our tactics against us. She predicted our moves before we made them. For 5 years, she held our entire fleet at bay with half the ships, but she was defeated. Yes, eventually, we overwhelmed her with numbers. I was there when her flagship exploded. I watched it burn. The old warrior paused. But we never found a body. We assumed she was vaporized in the blast. Now I am not so sure. Ketharan paced angrily. You are saying that a dead alien from 3 centuries ago is commanding the human fleet. That is madness. It sounds like madness. But look at the facts. The humans have prepared for this war for decades. Their tactics match Morethka's exactly. Their admiral speaks with Moreth patterns. Everything points to one impossible conclusion. Ketharan stopped pacing. If it is truly her, what do we do? Kethvorn looked at his grandson with old, tired eyes. We prepare to die, he said. Morethka does not forget. She does not forgive. She has had 300 years to plan her revenge, and she has found a species willing to fight beside her. He shook his head. We should never have declared war on the humans. We have awakened something terrible. Admiral Grace Sullivan recorded a new message. This time, she broadcast it to the Velthury fleet directly. She spoke in Moreth, the language of her dead people. The language that no living creature had spoken in 3 centuries. My name is Morethka, she said. You killed my people. You burned my worlds. You thought you had destroyed us completely. Her voice grew harder. You were wrong. I survived. I found new allies. I've been waiting for you. On every Velthury ship, officers listened in horror as a ghost from their darkest history spoke to them. You wanted a war, Grace continued. You will have one. But this time, it will end differently. This time, you will learn what it means to face a Moreth with nothing left to lose. She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was ice. I am coming for you, all of you, and I will not stop until every last one of you pays for what you did. The transmission ended. Across the Velthury fleet, fear spread like a disease. The ghost had returned, and she was hungry for revenge. The final battle began at dawn. Earth time. 300 Velthury warships emerged from faster-than-light travel near the edge of the solar system. They had lost nearly half their fleet in the campaign, but they were still a fearsome force. High Warlord Ketharan led them personally. He had sworn to destroy Earth or die trying. Waiting for him were 180 human vessels. Every ship humanity had left. Every pilot, every soldier, every engineer who could hold a weapon. This was their last stand. Admiral Grace Sullivan stood on the bridge of the Sentinel. Around her, officers worked at their stations with calm efficiency. They knew the odds. They knew they were outnumbered. And they knew they might not survive the day. But none of them were afraid. The Velthury fleet is in position, Commander Ben Carter reported. They are moving toward Earth in standard attack formation. Grace nodded. Good. They are doing exactly what I expected. She opened the channel to the entire human fleet. Her voice, calm and steady, reached every ship. This is Admiral Sullivan. The enemy has come to destroy our home. They believe we are weak. They believe we will break. She paused. They are wrong. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Today, we fight for our families, our world, and our future. Today, we win. The fleet responded with silence. But it was the silence of determination, not fear. All ships, Grace ordered. Begin the dance. The Battle of Seoul was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, flowing around the Veltari fleet like water around stones. They attacked from every direction, never staying still, never giving the enemy a clear target. Grace had spent 60 years teaching humans how to fight in 3 dimensions. Now they proved they had learned. Veltari ships exploded as human missiles found their targets. But the Veltari fought back with savage fury. Human vessels died too, their crews sacrificing themselves to protect the planet behind them, on the main planet of Proxima Centauri. Amy Dawson, the communications officer who had been captured at the first battle, watched the fight on every screen. She had been rescued weeks ago, but she still carried the scars of her imprisonment. Come on, she whispered. Come on. In the chaos of battle, something unexpected happened. A single Veltari ship broke formation and broadcast a message on an open channel. This is Subcommander Veleth, daughter of Ketharan. I am defecting to the human side. Grace's eyes widened. She had not expected this. Explain yourself, she transmitted back. I have studied the history of the Morth, Veleth replied. I know what my people did to yours. It was genocide. It was wrong. I will not fight for murderers. Ketharan's voice erupted on the channel. Veleth, you betray your own blood. I betray nothing, Father. You are the one who brought us here to die. You are the one who could not accept that some wars should not be fought. Veleth transmitted detailed information about the Veltari fleet's weak points. It was exactly what Grace needed. All ships, Grace ordered. Target the coordinates Subcommander Veleth has provided. Concentrate fire on their flagship. The human fleet pivoted as one, hammering the Veltari command ship. Explosions ripped through its hull, but it kept fighting. Ketharan refused to retreat. He will not stop, Ben said. His pride will not let him. Grace knew he was right. As long as Ketharan lived, the war would continue. The Veltari would never accept defeat while their high warlord still breathed. She made her decision. Ben, take command of the fleet, Grace said. Ben turned to her with alarm. What are you doing? What I should have done 300 years ago. Grace walked to the helm and took the controls herself. Get the crew to the escape pods, everyone. Now. Admiral, you cannot do this alone. I am not alone. Grace looked at him with eyes full of ancient grief and fierce determination. I have 10 billion Morth with me. It is time to let them rest. Ben wanted to argue, but he saw her face and he understood. This was always how it was going to end. It has been an honor, Admiral, he said. The honor was mine, Ben. Now go. Save our people. The Sentinel's crew evacuated in minutes. Grace piloted the ship alone, pushing it to maximum speed. She aimed directly at Ketharan's flagship. The High Warlord saw her coming. He opened a direct channel. Morethka, he said. You think you can kill me? I am a Veltari warlord. I do not fear death. Neither do I, Grace replied. I died 300 years ago with my people. Everything since then has been borrowed time. The Sentinel screamed toward the enemy flagship. Veltari weapons fire struck it again and again. but nothing could stop its charge. "You murdered 10 billion innocent souls," Grace said. "You erased an entire civilization. Did you think there would be no justice? Did you think the universe would simply forget?" Her ship was burning now, falling apart around her. But she kept it on course. "The Morath are gone," she continued. "But humanity will remember us. They will carry our spirit. And they will make sure the galaxy never forgets what you did." In the final moment, Grace thought of her people, her family, her world. She thought of the humans who had given her a second chance at life. And she smiled. The Sentinel hit Ketharon's flagship at full speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth. The Valkyrie fleet fell into chaos. Their leader was dead. Their command structure was shattered. And the human fleet, inspired by their admiral's sacrifice, attacked with renewed fury. It was over in hours. The remaining Valkyrie ships surrendered or fled. The Battle of Sol was won. 1 week later, a memorial service was held on Earth. Billions of people watched as Commander Ben Carter, now Admiral Ben Carter, spoke to the world. "We won this war because of one woman," he said. "She was not born human, but she chose to fight for us. She chose to die for us. And because of her sacrifice, humanity will live." He unveiled a statue of Admiral Grace Sullivan. It showed her as she had been, an older woman with kind eyes and strong hands. At her feet was an inscription: "Admiral Grace Sullivan, Lord Morethka of the Morath. She gave us 40 years of her life and taught us how to survive. When the enemy came, she gave us everything she had left." But the service was not yet over. A door opened behind Ben. A woman walked out. She was younger, perhaps 30 years old, with the same kind eyes and the same calm presence. The crowd gasped. "My body died," Grace said, her voice amplified across the world. "But the humans gave me a backup. One more gift from Morath technology. One more chance to live." She stepped up beside Ben and looked out at the crowd. "I have already lived 300 years longer than I deserved. I watched my entire species die. I spent decades hiding in the shadows, preparing for a war that might never come." She paused. "But now the war is over, and I think it is time to stop hiding." She addressed the galaxy directly. "To all the species watching, I have a message. Humanity is not just strong because of their weapons or their ships. They are strong because they accept everyone. They gave a broken refugee a home, a purpose, and a family. That is their true power." She smiled, and for the first time, it reached her eyes. The Valkyrie asked who commanded the human fleet. "Now, you know, I am Morethka, the last of the Morath and the first of a new legacy. And I stand with humanity, now and forever." Across the galaxy, other species watched and listened. They saw a civilization that had defeated the undefeated, that had given sanctuary to the last survivor of a murdered people. They saw strength and compassion united, and they began to understand why humanity would one day lead them all. The war was over, but the story was just beginning.